to pay attention to. I'm going to start presenting. So welcome. Today, like I said, I'm going to show you exactly how to design your weekly schedule and become the most productive entrepreneur you know. Even if you're the queen of procrastination, even if you don't feel like productivity systems are made for you, I totally get that. I have felt like that myself as well. So the game plan for today is basically to break down the step-by-step process that I take every one of my clients through to create their most productive work week and to finally put an end to that procrastination that just gives you anxiety and you feel like your to-do list is never ending and you're never going to get to the bottom of it. I'm going to teach you how to create a calendar and a schedule for your unique perfect day so that you can actually get more done in less time. And then the reason for that isn't just so you can go and have a drink with your friends, which is incredible, and I hope you do that, but it's also so that you can start to create momentum in your business week after week. You can really feel like you're, running in the direction of those goals that you have rather than just trying to keep your head above water and stay afloat. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to give you some headspace and time in your schedule to not only conquer your day-to-day tasks, but focus on that big dream, because to me, that's what defines true progress. Let's turn off this music and get down to business. So I can't wait to show you. You're coming behind the scenes of my perfect productive day, and implementing these productivity techniques can and will be a game changer in your business if you actually do it. I mentioned earlier today when I was on Facebook Live, I watched so many freaking webinars and I went to live events and things like that for productivity techniques, and I just was kind of taking in the information and not implementing it. So I urge you to not do that like I did for so long. Let's skip ahead of that, and implementing them can actually be a huge game changer, and obviously that's what we want. So it's totally okay if you're thinking right now, like, what the heck is this going to do for me, and do I even have time for this? Because I know you're crazy busy. I know that you have a lot going on. So let's just make sure that this is the right spot for you. This is a perfect workshop for you if you are a creative entrepreneur, if you are an online coach, if you're a blogger, a photographer, a designer, if you're an Etsy shop owner, if you're a maker. Those are some of the awesome types of people that I've worked with in the past, but I'm open to hear what you do, and like this technique I've actually shared with friends of mine who don't work in the online space, and it's helped them as well. But this is really designed for those of us who are solopreneurs, those of us who are trying to take over the world, but most of the time doing it ourselves. So this also applies to you if you know that you can sometimes hold yourself back from being as productive and as focused on your projects as you know that you could be, and it's actually starting to cost you money. So this is for you if you already know that building and scaling your business requires this specific type of entrepreneurial stamina that most people honestly just don't have, but you've decided that you're not playing small. You're not just dabbling into this. This is not a hobby. You are doing this. You're that entrepreneur and you can make magic happen, but in order for you to actually start doing that, you need to feel on all the time. If you want to know how to be more purposely productive, that's huge for me. If you want to make a bigger impact and realistically you want to make more money, then you're in the right spot. If you want to hone in on that entrepreneurial power and focus, and you want to start, feeling like you're releasing that inner Beyonce or that inner Oprah or whoever your spirit animal is, then you're in the right spot. And applies to you if you have days in your business where you just honestly don't feel like that. I'm raising my hand over here. I am so guilty. But then you also have those days when you're like freaking on fire and you feel like you could get a month's worth of work done in one day and you're unstoppable. So let me know if you guys feel like that. Some days you're just like, that meme where it's just like, nope. But then other days you're like unstoppable. So our goal today is to imagine and to start creating, having those on days over and over and over again. So if you're sick and tired of feeling burnt out and stressed out, and you're saying, heck yes, right now, then you're absolutely in the right place. My mission for the next hour is to show you what I've implemented in my business and allow you to literally copy that so that you can create your own perfect day blueprint. So we're going to go over how to create and design your perfect day. And we're really getting really specific here and creating it around your specific schedule, your motivation, you know, your project timelines, the systems that you currently have, and what are your goals in your business and what are your goals in your life? Because this, you know, a lot of this is not just about where we want to take our business, but, you know, are you spending 60 hours behind your desk per week? I know I was. And that's not really the type of life that you envisioned when you jumped into this world. So basically, by the end of this, we're going to transform your day. Here's a little bit of feedback from one of my favorite clients, and this is Stephanie, and she said, I haven't felt this focused and determined since she launched her first program, and she's so excited to have her oomph back. So Stephanie is kind of a rock star in the online space, but she was a little bit burnt out and needed some systems, and we gave her oomph back. She got her groove back. Statistics show that the highest performing entrepreneurs have actually mastered their own version of the perfect day. And they have these types of systems in place in their business to ensure that they're making strides every single day in their business. These type of high-level entrepreneurs are actually exploring systems, they're exploring habits, they're exploring you know, techniques so that they can always be on. But somehow less than 5% of creative entrepreneurs actually know about these strategies. So by being here and by learning this today, you are already ahead of the curve, all right? So stick around till the end because I also have some really awesome bonuses for those of you who stick around. I'm not only going to show you how to actually create your own perfect day blueprint, I'm going to give you the templates for exactly how I create mine and make it super easy for you, because I want to hook you up. So real talk, let's take a second here. This workshop is going to run for just over an hour. I want you to take a second right now, grab your notebook and ditch your phone. I've put mine in my drawer so that I'm not even tempted to look at it. And I really just want you to focus on yourself for a couple minutes. I know how easy it is to want to multitask. Again, raising my hand guiltily over here. I am definitely a multitasker at heart. So if you right now are trying to, you know, respond to your emails while listening to this, or do your dishes and have this on in the background, I know I'm guilty of doing that, but I would love if you put all of those distractions away, came here, hung out with me, and let's actually create this productivity system. Like I said, just learning about it is one thing, but actually putting it into place is a whole other ballgame. So there's also a question box and a comment box that you can type all of your answers to. I'll ask you a few questions. And you can answer them if you feel like it. But find it right now and let me know that you are not multitasking and that you are totally paying attention. So just turn that ish off, girl. Quit scrolling on Instagram. I'm just going to check the comments and see what's up with you guys if you're saying, yes, you're here, you are not multitasking. Uh-oh, the video is private. Hang on. Hey guys, can you hear me? Give me 1 second. Let me just make sure that my video is not private so you guys can hear me. Yes, 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 you can hear me. Okay, amazing. Sorry, guys. I'm not sure what's going on. I've obviously messed something up here, but as long as we're all together, amazing. Let me know if you guys are excited to, you know, find out about these techniques. People are saying you can hear me, amazing. You're on a Mac. I'm so sorry if you can't get it. I will absolutely send you the replay, but I don't know how to help. I will fix this for next time, absolutely. I hope you guys are all able to hear me, though, that are here. So let's get back into it. Amazing. So if you're watching this afterwards, you can add your comments here. It should look like that. So I have a question for you guys. Have you ever wanted to work 4-day work weeks? Have you wanted to take Fridays off? Or I know some of my clients hate Wednesdays. Do you want to just screw Wednesdays, stay in bed on Wednesdays, or sleep until 12 p.m.? Let me know if that's something that you want to do in your business. 4-day work weeks is something that I have been striving for a long time. Have you wanted to shut your laptop at the end of the day and feel like, hell Yes. Or do you usually end your day feeling like, 5 p.m. rolls around and you're ready to hop out of your desk and get ready to your life? Or is it more like your to-do list is actually longer by the end of the day than it was at the beginning? Be honest with me. I'd love to know which one of those two is your reality. By the end of this workshop, you will know exactly what steps to take to start having more freedom. But I also want you to have more inspiration and obviously more money in the bank. So welcome. Thank you so much for coming to this workshop. If you guys don't know me yet, I'll just give you a quick, little hey, who the heck am I? My name is Alyssa. That's my face there. Thank you so much. What's my deal? So I dipped my toes into this online world just about over a year ago, and I created this program called the Healthy Entrepreneur. And in that program, I got to work with so many absolutely epic entrepreneurs, tons of creative entrepreneurs who were making a commitment to make their health just as important as any one of their clients. And this was such an incredible experience for me. I worked with some really incredible people. But I will be honest, I had a bit of a secret that I was hiding. Honestly, I was a hot mess. I was really embarrassed, to talk about this, because even though I was actually helping my clients create a healthier work-life balance, I wanted them to be less stressed, have more energy, and make more of an impact. I was actually working like way more than 40 hours a week. I constantly felt like I was behind, or I was forgetting something, or that I was missing out on potential clients. Like, people wanted to work with me and I just wasn't, I wasn't capturing those people. And obviously, because of that, I felt like I was missing out on potential income, because I was just honestly a hot mess. And the hard part was that my partner and my friends didn't understand why I was actually working way after the sun went down, and why I could never come out till Sunday brunch with my girlfriends. And to be honest, actually, neither did I. I felt like I should have been hitting 5-figure months based on how many hours I was putting in, but that just wasn't the case, and I really needed to get my shit together. If you told me last year that, like I said here, if you had told me that people would say that I'm a productivity guru last year, I honestly would have laughed in your face. I would have never believed you. There's no freaking way. But one Monday, I specifically remember it so clearly, and now Mondays are one of my favorite days. But it was after a particularly dramatic ugly cry, but I decided that I was not going to spend any more time just letting my vision board stare at me from behind my desk. And I just saw my dreams sitting up there on that vision board. But meanwhile, I was just basically trying to stay afloat in like a sea of emails, or following up with my clients. And I felt like I was basically just trying to keep my head above water. And I felt like I was hiding a secret, or living like a double life, basically. I realized that all of my exciting ideas and my dreams were just not good to me at all if they just stayed sitting up in my brain or on my vision board. And I was working 60 hours a week, but that was completely irrelevant if I couldn't enjoy my life at all. And I was honestly barely making more money than I was as a waitress. I was making a little bit more, but barely. So after I considered basically throwing in the towel, I decided that I was just going to make this decision, that I was going to figure out exactly what the top performers were doing. So I wanted to figure out with what the Oprahs, what the Beyoncés, what the Marie Forleos of the world were doing, and how they were structuring their day to be more productive, but while also still being creative, because those are the type of women that I really look up to. I don't just want to be, a robot who's, raking in the cash. I came into this world so that I could be creative and really make a big impact, and feel inspired in my work, and that was really my mission. So I didn't plan on actually sharing this ever, but I saw eventually, and you'll hear, but I saw how many people it was starting to help, and I just had to get it out there and tell you guys about it. So I'm really excited to show you what I did. So basically, I went to work. I read every single book on productivity I could get my hands on. I researched automation and systems, and I tried to figure out how I could basically clone myself, which was like my ideal situation. I tried to just figure out how some of these entrepreneurs were making it look so easy, like how these chicks were like on the beach, like laptop lifestyle, where they drink smoothies and are making 6 figures, and they made it look like it was all bikinis and yoga classes, but really I was sitting here behind my desk all freaking day and never seeing the sun and turning into a vampire. So in this, exciting journey, I tried a lot of really bizarre tactics of, eating frogs, not real frogs. It's like a technique that I think Brian Tracy coined, and different apps that actually, made me do things like math before I could open Facebook. I actually brought a little mini trampoline into my office for productivity jump breaks. I'm doing air quotes over here. That was one of the more fun ones, but honestly, none of them actually seemed to work for me. And I started to feel like I was just doomed to be one of those people who is just easily distracted and was a procrastinator and would never see the sunlight, and my brain just was repelling anything that had to do with productivity. But then, boom, one day, I saw the light, and I realized that I closed my laptop and I went to yoga, and I was laying on the yoga mat, just chilling out there, ready to zen the heck out. And I heard the yoga teacher walk past everyone, and she said, "Thank you all for making it to the 5 p.m. class." And honestly, in that moment, it seems like just the tiniest little thing, normal thing to say. She probably had no idea, but I felt myself sink into the floor, and I was like, what? How the hell was it 5 p.m. and I was not only finished work, but I had gotten my ass to a yoga class? I was floored, literally. I was already on the floor, thank God. But I won't lie, like at the beginning, I wasn't just like, yes, I've made it. It wasn't pure yoga bliss. I kind of was freaking out for the first, few sun salutations. I was basically just mentally running through my to-do list and checking to make sure that I actually got everything done and I really wasn't forgetting anything. And turns out that I wasn't. So I allowed myself to enjoy the rest of the yoga class after that point. But I realized that at that point that it wasn't actually my fault that none of those systems had worked for me in the past. And it was because all of those systems, all those approaches that I was trying before were just really cookie cutter. So they were like one size fits all, and nothing actually encompassed all the kind of ins and outs of, my weird unicorn brain, as well as the specifics kind of my business or of being a solopreneur, of working online. It just didn't encompass all of that. So after my yoga class, I went home, and once I realized that I actually made it to yoga before 5 o'clock and I was floored, I dissected every single thing that I did that day. I became almost like obsessed about it. And I'll be honest, it was a really weird mishmash of all of the techniques, or a bunch of the techniques that I had been kind of binge consuming over the past few months. So I wrote every single thing out. I got really, obsessive about it. And I tried it again, the exact same thing again the next day, and then the following week and the following month. And, not only did I actually make it back to that same yoga class again the following week, but I started to actually make it to Sunday brunch with my girlfriends. And, those two things are both really incredible. But on top of that, the next month, I actually made an extra $3,000 in my business than I had the previous month without changing anything else in my business. I didn't try any new marketing or anything like that. Just this technique that I didn't know it was a technique at the time. So let's just say I was a little freaking excited by this yoga class that changed everything. So now I wake up energized every day. I actually work fewer hours in my business, and I get more done, and I'm making a bigger impact. And like I said, more money, which is the real, the real winner. But it wasn't just working for me. So what I did after this, and I was, kind of getting nerdy about it and getting really excited, I started adding these complimentary productivity sessions to all of my current clients' programs. So all of my healthy entrepreneur clients, and they were all like obsessed with it. They all had improved, results. They all told me that they had more headspace, or they felt like they knew exactly what they should be doing or when they should be doing it, and that they had more energy. One client told me that she went to bed before 3 a.m. for the first time that entire year. One of my clients here, Lupita, she told me that she gets more work done in the 6 hours a day that she works now compared to the 12 hours a day that she used to work. So, that's when I really felt like I was onto something, and I've really started to refine this process. So that is the story, and you are next. And so I'm really excited to tell you how you too can, get more done, and what I want to know what you would do if you had that time back. So if you started working half the time, what if you had an extra 20 hours per week? Let me know in the comments, what that would feel like. What would it be like to shut your laptop and feel like you could take a deep breath and know that you accomplished everything that you needed to accomplish that day, and you were actually one step closer to achieving that big goal, achieving that thing that's on your vision board. I really want to know what you guys would do with an extra 20 hours per week. Let me know. So let's stop talking about it and let's freaking do it. We're going to say goodbye to finishing your day and knowing that you can achieve more, or knowing that you can be more productive, or wasting your time feeling unfocused or not on, or never getting enough sleep, or not setting boundaries and letting your business actually bleed into every area of your life. Oh my God, that was so me. And I want you to say goodbye to becoming overwhelmed with all of the doing, and knowing that you can play beggar, and knowing that you can be more productive, and that you're leaving money on the table. So let's say bye, Felicia, to all of that. And if you're getting excited about turning yourself into a really badass and powerful productive machine, then it's time to break down the system that turns you on. Yes, I'm not just being cheeky. You actually need to be turned on. You are the boss, girlfriend. You need to know how to turn yourself on for every single project, for every vision that you want to execute, for every sales conversation that you're having, for everything in your business. I really need you to be turned on. So the goal of this workshop is to actually turn you into an entrepreneurial machine. So let's freaking do it. Get your notebooks out. If you have a blank calendar with you, then that would come in handy right now too. If you want to download my templates right now, right at the beginning, you can go ahead and do that. It's at alyssacoleman.ca/template. When you open the template, you can totally make it your own by clicking edit and then make a copy. And then you can, add in all of your own details there, where right now it's just kind of my information or blank. Oh my God, someone said they would learn another language. I love that. That's incredible. I love that idea. I just came back from Mexico and I feel like I need to learn Spanish now. So maybe that's what I'll do too. Awesome. So if you guys have the templates, if you want to grab the templates, go ahead and do that. If you don't have the templates, then just grab your notebook and let's start creating. So the first step, the very first most important step, seems really simple, but it's so important, and that is the brain dump. So if you look at, we're looking at the template that has all these pretty colors, the blue, pink, yellow, and you can start filling that out with all of the tasks and make a huge list of every single thing that you do in your business. If you're just writing this out on paper, just all you have to do is make a list of every single thing that you need to do every week, add some, little stars and say things that you need to do every month. What do you do quarterly? Literally everything, big things, little things. And I want you to keep this open over the next few weeks and start to actually see. You'll notice that things start to come up that you didn't even realize that you have to do in your business, because you're just a BAWS like that, and you're just getting everything done. But I want it on the list. I want to know every single thing that you're doing, and write them down into these three columns. So the first thing is the task. So a huge long list of tasks. You should have like anywhere from 30 to 70 tasks here. I've seen people have 200 tasks, and that's if they have a team. That's when they should have a team. And then you're also going to have a little column that says the time that it takes to complete that task. And then you're going to have another column that says section. And I'll get into what that means in 1 second. So don't worry about that. So the next step that you have to do is actually start writing out how long you think it will take, or it will take, to complete those tasks. So be really honest with yourself here. Base this time frame on your laziest day of the week or kind of the worst case scenario. And you can, you should start to adjust those times later. So as you do it more, you might get quicker. As you are now tracking, you might notice that it takes you longer. As you get more productive, it might take you less time. So definitely this is a living document, and keep that alive and open, and we'll start to adjust those times. If you have no idea how long anything is taking you, you are just like, I don't know, I get to my computer and I do stuff all day, and then at 6 o'clock I stop working and I don't know what I've done. Then there's a bunch of apps that you can try to actually track your time. One that I really like is called rescuetime.com, and it literally tracks every tab that you open on your computer, how long you spend in those tabs, and that is absolutely epic. But basically what we're trying to do here is really start to break down, every aspect of your day. I don't want anything unaccounted for. The more that we have a clear picture of what you need to do, the more we can get really specific with your scheduling. We can get really specific with when you're doing what, so that you can be more productive. And when your motivation is high, you do the things that are most important. So start writing everything out. Start writing down every single minute that it takes you to complete those tasks. And if you do have a team and you are delegating it, then write down how long it takes you to delegate that task. Or put some stars next to it if you think this takes me way too long and I actually hate doing it, so maybe I should consider delegating it. This brain dump document really gives you a good picture of those, all those little nitty-gritty things that are going on in your business. So the third step here, and a really important step, is the buddy system. So this is where we start time blocking. So start grouping all of those tasks together once you've gotten them written down. And let me know if I'm going too quick. Maybe you guys still have a lot more things to write down on your list here. Let me know. I am checking the comments now to see how you're doing by brain dumping. You guys are all doing okay. Okay, keep going. Awesome. All right, I will keep it moving then. What you need to do now, once you have everything written out, I want you to start blocking these sections together. So for you, this might look different than for me or for any of my clients, but I will tell you a few of my favorite sections that I like to group together. So my first section is the most important thing, or CEO tasks. So those are really high-level things. Those are the big money makers. Those are things that nobody can do except for you. And those are really important to group together and to do at the time that you are most productive or you have the most entrepreneurial fire. My second favorite section is meetings or client calls or anything like that. Anything where you have to be on the phone and you're not actually, hustling or working behind your business, then put that in the meeting section. And this says admin, but it is just supposed to say admin is the third section. So these are little, administrative tasks, things like SEO, things like responding to emails, all of that kind of stuff. Group all of that together, accounting, payroll, all of those things. But for you, you might have completely different groups. So you might have, client work as a whole group together. These are all the different things that you do for your clients, and that takes up a big group of your time. Then let's put all of your client work together. You might have content creation. If you're a blogger and you put out 4 blogs a week, then, creating the blog, putting the blog into WordPress, getting the images together, taking the images, creating the social content, all of that would go under a section for you that's maybe called content creation. So start to block them together. You'll see, a lot of your marketing tasks, how can you group those together? And the reason that we do that, the technique that we're using is actually called time blocking. And basically all it is just a pre-established amount of time that you set and you schedule into your daily plan to allow you to have some really, uninterrupted and focused time for you to work on, what needs to be accomplished. I love time blocking, it makes you so much less stressed. It allows you to have more focus, and it actually increases the quality of your work, which is so huge. And the biggest thing that I noticed when I started time blocking, because I wasn't worried about, oh, I still have to go do this, or oh, I still have to get that done, or shoot, I'm behind on this, or somebody just emailed me. I'm really present in the work that I'm doing at that time, and I'm able to be more creative and be more inspired on that specific task. And also, if, like, let's say for using that example of content creation, if you take all of your blog photos at the same time, you're going to stay in that kind of flow of your creative, your photo taking space. Whereas if you just took the photo and then started writing the blog and then doing the SEO for your blog and then creating the social content, you are still all doing all blog things, but by grouping those, taking all of the photos at the same time or writing all of the content at the same time, you actually can produce much better quality work. So that's huge. But you also eliminate distractions, which is awesome. By, like I said, by moving from one task to another, and your mind stays a lot more focused. And it also eliminates that what the heck am I supposed to be doing right now syndrome, which I totally understand and it's normal. So do you guys have some sections, some categories going on in your business right now? What things can you start to group together? And you'll see how this comes together in a second. So add that into your third column, the column that's called sections. Right? Is it a meeting? Does this belong in the meeting section? Does this belong in the admin section? Does this belong in the CEO section? Does this belong in the delegation section? Put all of those little headlines down in the sections section. So the fourth and most important, most exciting part of all of this, once you have your brain dump, once you know how long each one of those things take you, and you know which time block that falls into, then we're going to start to schedule it into an Excel spreadsheet. So you will see, if you've downloaded the template, then you will actually be able to see an example of one of my clients' Excel spreadsheets of her calendar. So what I do here is I actually start to build out the calendar in an Excel spreadsheet first. Before we put it into our calendar, we build it out into this spreadsheet so that we're more able to move it around. It's living, it's alive, and we can just see what's working and what's not working. So I create mine first and foremost in an Excel in an Excel spreadsheet. And then I work with it for about 2 weeks. And during those 2 weeks, I'm moving things around. I'm putting X's through the things that just realistically don't work. I get my clients to tell me, okay, I took way longer on this. I had, all of Wednesday was basically free. I got all of that stuff done in half an hour. I didn't need all of that time. Or, whatever isn't working. I didn't feel like doing my VA meeting right in the morning, so I started doing it later on. Whatever it is, we just kind of blow up this calendar for the first 2 weeks so that you can really get a customized and a real, perfect fit calendar for you. So then once you've created this, and the way that you do it is you basically take all of your time chunks, put them together. So you can see here that I started to actually group her stuff into different themes of days. And this is something I love to do. It might work for you too. So Mondays and Tuesdays are meetings. Wednesdays are all about outsourcing. Thursdays are all for client work. And Fridays are for brand growth. So you can move that around to however works for you. But by doing that, again, we're just doing another level of time blocking, and she's able to focus more, like, let's say, on brand growth. She's in that mojo all day of just how can she grow her brand? What does she need to do? She's working on her current project. She's getting on discovery calls. She's, all of that stuff. Whereas on Wednesday, she's just outsourcing. She's in the mode of, like, how can I get as much as possible off my plate, and how can I really support my team? How can I hire more people to support me? That's kind of her main goal on Wednesday, and she gets so much done in those outsourcing days. So based on each task that she has to do, based on how long those tasks take her, and based on when she's most productive, we start putting all of this into the calendar. You can also see here that I started to actually add in, morning meditation, time for breakfast, time for family, actually eating lunch. That's huge. So many of my clients never leave their desk for lunch, which is just a really nice thing to do every once in a while. Get up, move your legs. But then after we've, worked on this Excel spreadsheet, we've used it, we've blown it up, the next step is to actually put it into a Google Calendar. And I'll show you an example of my calendar in 1 second. But before we do that, there's a few things that you want to really start to consider. When are you most productive? That's a question that I ask every single one of my clients right off the bat. And most of us don't actually know. So start tracking yourself. When are you getting the most done? Is it in the morning? A lot of entrepreneurs swear by morning routines. Is it right after lunch? Is it at 8 p.m.? So whenever it is for you, schedule the most important or CEO section tasks. Theme days, we talked about that a little bit. Create those themes. For you, it's going to be different than that calendar. But I also love to schedule those non-negotiables. I schedule when I want to spend time with my family, when it's date night. I schedule when I want to hide my phone. And I also schedule in some buffer time. So the reason that we do that is so that you can actually still have that creativity and that flexibility. If you feel like you're, a free-spirited person, which I totally resonate with, and you don't like systems, you don't like structure, you don't like being told what to do, then this allows you to know what you should be doing and when, without actually feeling tied down to it. So you can actually be more present in that work and be more creative and free-spirited, but you can leave each week knowing that you've been actionable in your business and all the areas that you have to be actionable in. And you started to systematize the areas that can be automated, which we will get into in a second. So let me show you an example of my calendar. Give me 1 second. Let me figure out how to share my screen with you. So if you want to see an example of my calendar, you can go to alyssacoleman.ca/calendar, and you can see an example here. You should be able to see this now. So once we've worked with the Excel spreadsheet for long enough, and as you can see, this is a little bit different than the spreadsheet from before, because we started to move things around. We realized that we need about an hour after each client meeting for follow-ups. We realized that, team meetings work better at this time, or I'm not sure, I don't actually remember every single change we made, and we did actually move some stuff around too. Monday is now meetings, Tuesday is client work, Wednesday is for all admin tasks, Thursday is for growth and brand growth, and then Friday is all the back end work. So the cool thing about this is you can now start to look at your calendar. If you want to just look at one day, that looks really nice and you feel like you know exactly what you should be doing and when. I personally like to keep it in the week. And if you are the type of person that needs a lot more flexibility, that's what I love about having it in my Google Calendar, because you can move stuff around as much as you need to. So let's say hiring, you're gonna be actually walking the dog for a lot longer. So we're gonna need to move this hiring. Okay, no problem, we'll move it here. Actually, you don't even wanna do it that day. Okay, well, we have some free time here. We can move it to Friday. This client canceled her meeting. We can go ahead and delete that, and maybe we'll do a little bit more administrative work on Monday. Something like that. I love that there's the flexibility here to actually start moving your stuff around. You don't have to feel chained to it, but without, deleting it from your calendar, at the end of the week, everything has gotten done. If I haven't completed something that day, so let's say I didn't do my first client follow-up, I would move it to the next day and make sure that I have time to actually get it done in there. So maybe I would move it to the next day where I actually have time for client work right here. So, and then if I didn't do it that day, I would move it over to the next day until it's Sunday and I'm like, oh shoot, I better figure that out before the next week. So that's what I love about moving it into a Google Calendar, and my clients love it because, when you wake up in the morning, you can actually just look at it on your phone, and it says just like this, everything that needs to be done that day. So let me check in with you guys. Hello, I see a few of you in the template right now. Brain dumping, creating your perfect day here. And then I'm going to get into this project plan tab in 1 sec. It's super handy little trick. So quick recap of what's going on. It seems very simple, but it is absolutely, you know, mandatory in terms of creating a system that works without leaving anything out. All you have to do is brain dump every single thing that you do in your business. Maybe put some question marks for like, I know I do more than this, so what is it? And actually being able to put a time frame on every single one of those things. How long does it take you? How long should it take you? How long does it realistically take you? Starting to group them together and then adding them into your calendar. You can skip this Excel option, you know, Excel step if that works better for you, but I really love that personally. Let me check in with you guys. Somebody says slow down a bit. Okay, so let me know how you're doing with creating your list. I love that we're all creating it together. I obviously don't want to spend, you know, much longer than an hour for those of you that have put this time block in your schedule. Maybe you had a little Google Calendar event with me saying, workshop with Alyssa, which I hope you did. That would be awesome. So I will slow down a little bit more, but I do have a few more bonus steps that I want to share with you. Bonus. So the first bonus step is to-do list and tomatoes. It sounds crazy, but I want to show you how to create a really epic to-do list and how I do that in the Google Calendar. So let me show you. Whoops. So when I'm in my Google Calendar, the best thing that I find for creating a to-do list, I actually love to create mine on paper, but if you get into each day and you see, okay, yeah, I have my client meeting, I have client follow-up, I have client work, but that's not very specific, right? You probably have a list that says, you know, deliver this invoice to my client, send back their protocol, you know, get feedback from them on the design I sent last week, follow up with this person, or whatever it is for your actual client work section. It's a lot more specific than that. So what we're going to do is go up into the very top of the calendar, and that creates full day events. And the reason I do that is because it then stays pinned up to the top of my list. And I just put a little period because that makes it pinned to the very top. Otherwise, it goes in alphabetical order. And I say to do, deliver client invoice, done. So then that sticks at the top of your to-do list. Let's do another one. To do, get or review feedback from other client. Your to-do list would obviously make a lot more sense than that one. But then your to-do list starts to build up here. You know exactly what to do. You can actually move it down into the time frame where you're working on that. And at the end of the day, you can delete it or you can put an X at the beginning. I know a couple of my clients do different things, or you can actually say done, whatever works for you. That is my little bonus step, my to-do list hack that I use every single day, so that I know what's going on in my business. As well, I do create a paper list just because I love that feeling of actually scratching out my my task once it's done. But the next bonus step is my absolute favorite, and that is Pomodoros. So this is a technique that I use every single day, and it is like something I swear by. So Pomodoros are basically just little 25-minute chunks, and you set a timer and you work completely uninterrupted, completely focused on one specific task for 25 minutes. So what I do is when I am doing my brain dump and I'm saying how long a specific task takes, so let's say it's writing a blog, I don't even actually say that it takes me 1 hour. I say it takes me 4 Pomodoros. And the reason I do that is because I honestly get so much freaking more done in a Pomodoro when I'm being timed for 25 minutes than at any other time in my business. It works. If you take nothing away from this, just try the Pomodoro. It's so simple, and it works like gangbusters like a boss. So 25-minute chunks, are just long enough to actually get meaningful work done, but short enough that you don't actually feel like exhausted after after it's over. And then you take a little 5-minute break and you do another 25-minute chunk. So our brains are just muscles, and they can only handle so much exertion really at a time. So the Pomodoro techniques plays off of that by allowing you to just work in short little bursts of really, hyper focused time periods, but you really only have to work for 25 minutes. And then you also have frequent breaks, so you can go get a coffee. You can do like a little victory dance if you've completed it before your Pomodoro is over. If you complete something before the 25 minutes are up, then you can totally stop it. But you also have time in those little chunks to mentally recover and get ready for the next Pomodoro, which is really important. So a couple of things when I'm doing a Pomodoro, I use this thing here. It's called tomato-timer.com. It's very simple. There are tons of Pomodoro timers out there on the interwebs. So, use whatever one works for you. That's the one I like. But if somebody does, distract you, no problem. Or if your phone distracts you, don't freak out about distractions, just notice them. Don't let them derail you. What I like to do is just write it down so you start to notice what it actually is that's distracting you. If it's like a family member or a client or emails, then my favorite technique is to just let that person know that you're in the middle of something, find a time to actually handle their request, and then schedule a time and then follow up after your Pomodoro, or during, maybe if you have a client time block, then follow up during that time. So the next bonus section is your big goals. So you might be thinking, yeah, that's a great calendar system. Maybe that would work, but I have big projects going on that don't really fit into this like weekly schedule. My weeks are different every single week. I have big projects. I have, different things going on. So there is a little hack for project plans, and I use this every single time. It's my jam. So you basically go into the same brain dump template for your next project. You brain dump every single thing that needs to happen. So do you need to create a new opt-in page? Do you need to write emails? Do you need to create a new, whatever it is? I write down every single thing that needs to happen in that under the task, write out how long it's going to take you, and then in the third column, rather than the section, which you can still have, you put a deadline on it. So when does this need to be done by? What needs to happen first? What needs to happen when? And then all you do is you start to add those into your calendar under the appropriate section. So if you have a brand growth day, then that might be the best time for you to add it. If you have a time where you check your emails, then that might be a good time for you to add, email some people that you want to collaborate with during that big project. I can show you an example in the Google Calendar in a second. So the best part about all of this to me is that these results actually show up immediately. This is not something that, you work on it and like working out and you have to do it and do it and do it, and the results show up in months. This actually works like a little entrepreneurial cleanse. It's like a little refresh, and no matter how often you do it, it does work like a cleanse. So if that sounds dreamy, let me know. So if you are getting towards the end of this workshop and you feel like, where the heck do you start now? I'm here to clear it up. Basically, what you need right now is a brain dump, a calendar, and a Pomodoro. If you take nothing else away from this, these are the steps that really help you get clear. You need a system that you can put into place that helps you stay on task and helps you feel unoverwhelmed. I don't want you to have that feeling like you're just treading water, you're just getting by, because I know how shitty that is. And I want you to remember that this is not just a theory. I know you can listen to these things and feel like, okay, yeah, this is just common sense, basically, but I'm suggesting that you avoid that. Like I said, it's implementing these steps that drastically change your productivity and that drastically change the quality of your work. So Making these changes will actually prove to be the catalyst you need to get where you already know that you're going, but you're just going to be able to get there faster and without the overwhelm and the emotional roller coaster of entrepreneurship that I know so many of us get on, and without the doubt, like I said, about whether or not you have what it takes, because I know that you do. Because this is what it takes. It takes you actually stepping outside of emotion, stepping outside of fear, and stepping into your entrepreneurial machine actually turned on. So it's time for you to check in with yourself, and I really want you to be honest. If I told you exactly what to do, step by step, and you no longer had to think, well, what am I supposed to be doing right now? Would you actually do it? Leave me a comment. Tell me now, would you actually follow through? I want to know, because so many of us come to these things just to kind of listen and not actually get anything done. If you would follow through, then it's time to get busy. So I want to see all of you actually implementing this. I would love to see pictures of your calendars. To me, it's honestly like a work of art, seeing people create their calendars and really holding themselves accountable to being that boss in their business. If you were in a 9-to-5 job and your boss said there's a meeting at 8 a.m., would you get there? I bet you would. But if you put that in your calendar and you say, I have a meeting with myself to go over my weekly overview, do you actually make it there? I want to know. But if you want a little bit more assistance, then I'm about to hook you up, because I am offering, for only the people who actually came to this workshop, I'm offering free systems assessments for the next 48 hours. If you want me to roll up my sleeves and basically organize the junk drawer that is your brain currently, then you're in luck, because I am booking 10 systems assessments. Only 10 because a girl's got to sleep, if you know what I mean. Work-life balance, that's what we're talking about here. But I'm booking 10 systems assessments, because your passion and your creativity plus my systems and accountability create a really magical combination. And I'm really excited to be able to talk to more of you about, organizing your junk drawer. And during these systems assessments, we're going to basically assess, where you're at right now, what your current business model is, your systems, your processes, and all of that, so I can get a feel for your overall situation. And then we're going to identify kind of what's working. We're going to see where we can make some improvements and how we can make those improvements, and where we need to introduce new ways of actually doing things. Where can we systematize? Where can we automate? Where can we take things off of your plate? What systems can we start to implement? Because for everyone, it's different. And then we're actually going to develop kind of a plan of execution just for you, so that you have a really crystal clear action plan. And it's just so nice sometimes to have somebody who's, from an outside perspective, jump into your business and look at it from another perspective. Because when we're in it, honestly, I know this from my own business, that it just you become so attached to it, and you feel like, oh my God, I have so much to do. And you explain it to someone else and they're like, oh, well, why don't you just, do this? And it seems like such a simple answer, but when we're in it, it seems like a whole mountain. So let me show you how I break this down. Basically, you fill out a survey for me to get all of the details of your business. I put in time to focus solely on your intake form and assess all of that information that you send to me. And then I have a real, solid background of who you are, what you're doing, what's working, what we need to kind of improve on, and where you want to go, so that I know exactly how I'm going to help you get there. And then we can get right down to business on our call. And then we're going to have a 30-minute call that's going to change everything, girl, because you'll be able to have a little bit more of a clear understanding of how to overcome whatever those productivity challenges are that are in your business right now, and how you can actually achieve those goals. And then we'll talk about the necessary structure that, to me, it's so cool how structure balances so perfectly with the creative and free-spirited brain. And they kind of feed each other. The more systems that you have in place, the more freedom you have, the more time you have to actually be creative or actually show up for that task with more inspiration, show up wholeheartedly and be completely present in those tasks. And then I'm going to send you away with a step-by-step strategy that actually makes sense of all of that. Plus, my tried and true systems, and whatever tips I have for productivity success. So you, again, like I said, have the answer to that question: what the heck am I supposed to be doing right now? Because I know I felt like that, and I want to clone myself. So I always ask my clients after these productivity, systems assessments, like how it was. Would you recommend this to somebody else? Like, was this 30 minutes worth it? Kayla says, yes, a million times yes. It's worth every minute of your time. For her, it was a really huge hurdle to get over those all of these obstacles and really create some actionable steps for her by the end of every call. Sarah says, just do it. Getting an outsider's opinion is incredibly helpful and invaluable in seeing how you can improve in your everyday life. Yeah, like I said, just an outside perspective is so huge. So can you imagine what it would actually feel like to have all of this set up and working for you in just a couple days? I know how it feels, and it's absolutely wild. So if you want to take me up on being one of the 10 systems assessments that I am booking, then you can go ahead and do that at alyssacoleman.ca/call. You can book your call and fill out the form so that I can get a clear picture of what's going on with you. Let's check in with Stephanie. We heard from her earlier, and she said she's gotten more done in the last 2 days than she has in literally months, and that I am her secret weapon, as well as so much other amazing love from Stephanie. But, like I said, having that outside perspective and allowing me to just get in and organize that junk drawer can allow you to get your oomph back. She's got her groove back. So you can really feel like you are showing up in your business again. So basically, to sum it up, if you want to turn yourself into a badass, productive, and unstoppable entrepreneurial machine, then this is really a no-brainer. Like I said, it's a free systems assessment. We're going to chat for 30 minutes. The way that you do that is alyssacoleman.ca/call. Here's a few more people who I had calls with. Katrina says, oh my God, the assessment alone is totally worth it. Alyssa's guidance is invaluable in keeping me on track and accountable. Katrina is one of my clients. Here's Lupita again. She says, I can't recommend this enough. I already do. I told everyone, and my grandpa too. I never got to have a systems assessment with her grandpa, unfortunately. But she says, just do it. Love yourself enough to invest in yourself. But Lupita, this is actually free. So all you're doing is investing time. And here's what you can do. There's 2 steps below. You can click on the book now, which is over to the right side. Or if you scroll down a little bit, you can actually see my schedule right there. And you can book in for those 30 minutes right now. Like I said, I've only for the next 48 hours am I accepting these, and I'm only taking on 10 because I get so invested in these. I don't want to be staying up all night, like I said. So I'm so happy that you came here today, and if you feel like this really made an impact in how your week's gonna go, we're midway through the week. If you implement these things, or if you take the next couple days to actually start to assess what you do in your business, how long it takes you, where are you spending your time, maybe use the rescue time to see where what tabs you're spending time in. Do you spend an hour on Facebook? Is that actually good for your business? Maybe it is. Maybe that's where you get most of your clients. Maybe it's not. Maybe you're actually just scrolling and you don't even know what you're doing in Facebook for that long, and you'll be shocked when you get sort of the report at the end of the day of where you spend all of your time. And then create that calendar, and on Monday, start to implement it. Like I said, it's when you actually put that time into creating your calendar and starting to follow it and seeing what times of day you're the most productive, when you have that motivation. When you don't, maybe for you, which it is for me, after lunch, I'm like sometimes just totally useless, and I usually use that time to kind of go into Facebook, check in on my Facebook group and things like that, because it's just not a time where I can realistically like write emails or get some insane CEO style work done. And then implement that next week. I can't wait to see your calendars. Thank you so much for coming. I can't wait to get on the phone with you guys. And I see on my phone now that I've taken it out of the drawer that a few of you have already booked. 1, 2, 3 of you have already booked. So amazing. There are 7 spots left. For a second there, I was like, did I do that math correctly? So I hope to see a few more of you in there and get on the phone with you, organize that junk drawer. Bye, guys. I'll answer some questions now. If anything If anybody has any questions for me, you can feel free to ask them now. You know, let me know what is coming up for you when you're doing your brain dump. What are you spending all of your time on? Let me just take a sip of water. Okay, so Sarah says she sees that she's spending the majority of her time in client calls. What do you do when you have a lot of client calls every week and only a little bit of time during the day to actually get work done? So I totally get that, Sarah. This does happen a lot. I've worked with quite a few virtual assistants, and they are on the phone with their clients a lot. Tabitha, you're so welcome. Have an awesome day. And I totally get that. So there's a few things that you can do. How many clients do you take on? Start to assess how many hours you're spending on the phone with those clients and how many hours you're actually doing the client work afterwards. This might be a great time for you to start to bring in a team member on all of your client calls so that they know what's going on and they can help you execute. Can you have your client calls a little bit earlier? Can you know, those are the things that I really like to do, is to have my meetings kind of back to back and earlier in the day with some buffer time for execution after the client calls. But I definitely don't want you spending time, you know, after dinner at your desk. I know some people that does work for. I actually have one client who works from 6 to 8 p.m. every single night just because that's when she gets the majority of her work done. So if that works for you, that's totally cool. But if you're getting to your desk at 8 a.m. and then not leaving till 8 p.m., that can burn you out pretty quick. So I would love for you to book one of the assessments so we can see how we can get you a little bit more time back, even if you're on the phone with clients all the time. You're welcome. Thanks so much for coming, guys. I can't wait to see your calendars. You can join me in the Facebook group. I have a Facebook group called Free Spirited Babes. So show me your calendars in there. I'm drinking water now because I feel like I just yelled at you guys for like ever. Amazing. Tabitha says, would it be beneficial for a call when I'm going to try and freelance as a designer, but I'm currently spending most of my time caring for a new little one? Amazing. I'd love to start building my portfolio again, but I feel swamped. Yes, Tabitha, 100%. I work with so many moms who really like, the thing that's so cool about the online space is that you can stay home with your newborn, or you know, even your any kids. You can stay home with them all friggin' day and work around their schedule if that's what you want to do. So I have so many mom clients, and what we can do is we can start with a project plan for you and then start to implement that into your calendar, and you know, the times that are really going to work for you. And for you, maybe early mornings are nothing because you're up all night with your little one, or you know, maybe you can't always put things in stone because they, you know, your little one, I wish I knew his or her name so I could call them right now. The baby, maybe the baby sleeps at 2 most days, but if you had a client call at 2 and the baby didn't go down till 2:45, then you'd be screwed. So we'll talk a lot about where you have like absolute free time, what systems you can put into place to get the most impact from the hours that you're actually working. So let's say you want to work only 5 hours per week in the beginning. That's totally cool and that's totally doable, but let's make sure those 5 hours that you work are not you spending time on Facebook answering questions about design and not getting any clients. Yeah, absolutely, that would be beneficial. Let's talk about what you were doing before. Let's talk about what you do now and see if we can put a system into place. I would love to chat. How is everyone else doing? Okay, so I do see some other comments here on Facebook. I've been live streaming as well. You're welcome. I got there's a few comments here that I don't know what they were responding to. Oh, somebody said 100%. That sounds good. Somebody said, with my extra hours, I would build a new business. Okay. Alicia is her name. Yes. Okay, Alicia. You are a true hustler. I totally get that. Okay, let's do it. A lot of people say, like, I would take up a hobby, I would go to yoga class. You're like, nope, I'm going to use those hours. I love it. You're welcome. Bye, guys. Bye, Sam. Thanks for coming. Ashley, I see you book a call. Amazing. Tabitha, booking now. I can't wait to see you, Tabitha. Diana, booked in. Ooh, Diana, I can't wait to chat. Macy. So there's an intake form that you guys can fill out once you book your call. There should be a option for you there. So I can find out more about your business. Bye, Lisa. Awesome. If nobody else has any questions, then let's all hit the road and get some more done today. If you have questions,